I remember being in college, a freshman in college, and that being the first time I encountered people from New York City. And the people from New York City were so interesting because they were so vibrant and they talked with a lot of energy. They moved with a lot of energy. But more importantly, they thought differently than we did, us natives from Buffalo. So I was plus size in high school and college, and I received a lot of negative feedback, especially when I would encounter guys. And guys were very rude. They were very rude. They would say things to you that they just discarded you. They disregarded your feelings 100%. So that pretty much taught me who to talk to and who not to talk to. And it was just an interaction I wanted to avoid altogether. So I had a friend from New York City who was also plus size. She was pretty, but she was plus size. And she was bigger than the average girl. And she went up to one of the guys that I normally would not talk to. He was like a guy who was attractive, who had a bunch of friends that were, also attractive and, like, you could say popular in our city. And she went up to him and just struck up a conversation, like, real friendly and flirty or whatever. And I can't remember what he said, but he said something to her rude in the effect that she was fat. But she said something to him that just negated anything that he was saying. It was really clever. And it wasn't, I can't remember what it was, but it deflected what he said. And she didn't take it as something as a put down. She took it more so as his opinion, opposed to it being fact. And it blew him away that she didn't absorb it. And believe it or not, they ended up dating. And I liked her so much because at the time, the way the world was dictating things is that you were supposed to be apologetic for being not the norm. And I was never apologetic. I fought it, but it was just an encounter I didn't want to engage in. Sometimes you just don't even feel like tackling things, and the brain is set up to where you avoid pain. So I was like, I didn't even want to be bothered with that guy. I knew he didn't appreciate who I was, so I didn't engage. But she was one that didn't accept her size as being something she had to apologize for. She did not see herself as being a mistake. And at the time, it was not common. That line of thinking was not common. And so I look at it as, at the time I was looking at it as like she was from New York City. And that's how people from New York City thought. But now that I'm an adult, I see that she was a person that had a positive mindset about herself. And she didn't allow the world to change her self-image and self-worth. And that's what I feel a lot of us need to really do. We really need to learn to see ourselves as being the most valuable thing on earth, and to value ourselves more than what the world is telling us and how we should value ourselves. To see her do that, I looked at her and was like, I could never do that. I wish I could be like that. But it was just a matter of a lack of understanding of what was going on. Somewhere along the line, she received the message that her worth is defined by her. And weight is changeable. That's not who you are. And then to see those guys as imperfect beings, and to have someone outside yourself to find your worth is really subjective, because you think everyone sees you the same, but honestly, they don't. You know, I mean, like, the world will show you what you were supposed to like, and you may go along with it, but you internally, you have your own desires. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to tap into those, and you may like the mainstream songs or clothes or whatever, but you know that you look better in certain outfits that aren't the latest trend. And that's what I mean. I mean, like, the world and what it tells you to like changes over time. So to tap into that and buy that is a waste. It's a waste. Because you'll be going along with the program, and then the program changes, and then you're like, I spent my whole life liking this thing, and now they're telling me this thing isn't even what I should be liking anymore. And that's what happens when you're not true to yourself. But a lot of people don't realize that that's exactly what they're doing. They're not being true to themselves. And somehow someone schooled this girl as to what was going on. Like, whatever they telling you about yourself, whatever they telling you about your weight, don't buy it, because in 6 months, a year, 5 years, it'll be something else. So don't let what other people's opinions of you matter. And honestly, when you look at it, those guys were just followers. They're just following along with whatever anybody tell them to like. And, you don't know. You don't know. You could have a girl who is a quote unquote perfect 10. Zero personality, doesn't care about you, doesn't want to hear your opinions on things, doesn't want to see your new niece or nephew, don't want to see any of those baby pictures, don't want to see your baby pictures. I mean, really, you buying into what looks good, and you don't even know what works for you yet. She looks amazing, but she's shallow. Or she may be, more than just her beauty may go beyond skin deep. Beyond the surface, and actually she may be a beautiful person, but she doesn't like the things you like. You don't like her habits. So here you are being rude to somebody, and she has everything. And you being rude to look cool for your friends. You don't even really have any resentment towards her. It's just that that's what you guys do when you get together. Now, my friend from New York City, she knew that. She may have not known every aspect of what I'm saying, but she knew enough to deflect whatever nonsense he was saying. She might have saw that he was just a guy following along. She might have saw that, or she might have heard the insult that he said before. But honestly, a lot of people who judge us, they're going along with whatever it is that the mainstream is telling them, or what their parents or family are telling them, have no idea who they are as a person. They have no clue who they are as a person. They don't know what they're like. And second, they're not really brave enough to go against what anybody says. And my friend knew herself enough that she knew that she was attractive. And she knew she had what it took to get this guy. And they ended up dating golly for a few years. It was so, it blew my mind. It was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. I was just in love with people like her. They just defied the norm. They just defied the norm. I didn't know how to do that yet. I was a young girl. I really wasn't around people like that in my environment. But that was one of the things I was so grateful about going to college, about one of my reasons why I'm grateful that I went to college, was I was exposed to so many brilliant people. And I didn't see things the same after that. And I knew that there were people out there that were defying the norms. And she wasn't afraid of his friends ridiculing her. She wasn't afraid of his comments. And it was just so different. We were so accustomed to hearing the same things and being around the same people and just watching the same people get the guys, or, and we just accepted that as life. And then she came in and showed us something completely different. And that's what I intend to do. This is what I do with my services. I show you different angles to life. I show you different perspectives. I show you how to see yourself differently. I show you how to become aware of what it is that you're like and what you're about, and not to deny that. I show you that you are not a mistake. So please subscribe to my channel, leave comments below, definitely click on my Instagram link and the other links that are listed below, and I will see you in the next video.